So I understand there's a lot of number crunching in baseball, though. Some people probably use spreadsheets. I'm not one of them. But let's look and see if we can find some winners for today's card. Let's start with a good matchup between the Rangers and the Yankees. Yankees minus 160 here, total of 7.5 runs, and a good pitching matchup. Nathan Eovaldi goes for Texas. He's 4-2 with a minuscule 1.61 ERA. Carlos Rodon is 5-3 with a 3.17 ERA. So, Jenks, yesterday we had a nice little winner on the first 5 under. I feel like this would be a solid play once again, or even a full game under. But does lightning strike twice? Do we just run it back with some unders here?
I love it. I am absolutely on this. I am playing this up to 8 and laying the juice on the under. I found it at minus 141. And Eovaldi versus Rodon, forget about it. Nathan Eovaldi has been...
Forget about it.
Forget about it. I'm terrible at accents. Don't right now. Just know that I know. Nathan Eovaldi has been unbelievable. Right now, he's 11-1 to win a Cy Young. He hasn't given up more than 2 runs in any of his last 8 starts. He's faced the Dodgers, the Mariners, the Cubs, the A's. So he's been pitching against really good hitting clubs. And don't laugh at the A's because the Athletics can hit. Like, say what you want to about them. They have a good squad, their lineup. But again, Dodgers, Mariners, Cubs. And then you got Carlos Rodon having his best season as a Yankee, 3.17 ERA. And then he'll turn things over to Luke Weaver and the Yankees bullpen. Rangers are the best under team in baseball. This is on the card for me. I'm going under.
Yeah, best under team in baseball for the Rangers. 34-15-1 this year to the under. So, the side of the coin that makes me nervous, obviously, is the Yankees lineup. But that's why it helps to have an ace for the Rangers, because maybe that slows down those bats just a little bit. Because I will say this, there are some batters for the Yankees who have good numbers against Nathan Eovaldi. We know he pitched for the Red Sox for quite some time, and so, of course, he has faced these Yankees hitters quite a few times. Aaron Judge, 2 home runs and 32 at-bats, hitting 375, OPS over 1,000. DJ LeMahieu has a home run and 50 at-bats, hitting 320. So if you do play splits, maybe a couple guys to look at there. But still, you also look at the bullpen for the Yankees. It's one of the best in all of baseball. So even if Carlos Rodon is not lights out here, but again, this Rangers offense has been really pedestrian. For all the big names they have in this lineup, they should be better, but they're just not. So I think full game under, probably the way to go, especially if you can get that 8. I think that is an excellent, excellent play. All right, so should we touch on this Phillies-Rockies game? Do we just go against the Rockies every single day of the week? But now the price has jumped. Now the Phillies are minus 300. So we're getting into, comical territory where you even have to lay, quite a bit of juice to play the 2.5 run line. Jenks, do we leave this one on the cutting room floor, or is this something that you can't miss? Minus 2.5 is minus 135.
God. The regular run line, minus 1.5, is minus 200. When is the last time you saw a run line? Minus 210 now at BetMGM. The run line is generally 1.5. 2.5 is a rare exception, but we're talking about the Rockies, one of the worst teams ever. You can get the Phillies on the run line at minus 200. That is so stupid. You're going to lay 2.5? I feel like now it's just, I got to stay away from this.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where okay, we've had our fun. We've made our money.
Yeah.
Maybe we just sit this one out. Because here's the thing. German Marquez, I know he doesn't have a great ERA this year, but he's had good seasons. He's not the worst starter in the rotation for the Rockies. When you have a rookie going, I feel like that's an easy case to make. But I will say this. First game this season, German Marquez pitched against the Phillies and went 6 shutout with 4 strikeouts and only 4 hits. So maybe there's your sabotage factor. Because remember, if you're laying the 2.5, you need a seismic gap between the two teams. And I understand the lineups certainly have a big gap, but German Marquez is at least decent. I know he has an 8.78 ERA this year, but again, you're making a case for a team not to lose by 3 runs. So I don't know. That's as much as I'm going to say on that one because it's just comical to me, the number that is landed on. All right, let's go to this game. Braves and Nationals. Atlanta favorites here, minus 155. Washington plus 125 if you're interested. Total of 8.5. AJ Smith-Shawver versus Trevor Williams, who's 2-5 with a 5.91 ERA. Jenks, I'm pretty sure you have a play here. What do you like?
Yeah, I shopped around. I'm going to play the Braves on the money line at minus 150. So this is going to be the other bet on the card for me besides the Yankees-Rangers under. This is price dependent. This is way too cheap on the Braves. Like, this should be much more expensive. Trevor Williams, last time out, gave up 3 runs to the Braves in 4 1/3 innings. Before that outing, gave up at least 4 runs in each of his last 3 starts. A.J. Smith-Shaw were going for the Braves in his last start against Washington, 6 shutout innings. But the Braves have won 5 straight with Shaver on the mound. And then the Braves get to face the Nationals bullpen, one of the worst in baseball. I got it at minus 150. This price should be much higher than this, so I'm on the Braves.
Yeah, I'd be with you there. I'm not sure if it makes the card for me, but I totally get what you're saying there. And I'll say this about the Nationals. They've been a scrappy team this year, but I don't think this is the starter that you want to back. Like, maybe if it's Mackenzie Gore or maybe some of their other starters, but Trevor Williams is kind of a guy that's bounced around the league, a longtime veteran. I just don't think his stuff is that great. Speaking of pitchers who I feel like are going to give up a lot of runs, I want to ask your opinion on this one because, like, I'm not a huge fan of Lucas Giolito, but we've faded the Orioles a ton this year. And Cade Povich, like, I think he's been pretty high on the list of guys that we faded on a weekly basis. So the Red Sox are minus 125. Total in this game's 8.5. Like, I was considering that as well, but can we depend on the Orioles to actually score runs? I think that's the question.
Yeah.
Is there anything worth diving into or at least examining in this Orioles-Red Sox game?
Well, I was looking at the over. You can find an 8 at minus 130. If you like 8.5, then that's fine too. I mean, Cade Povich, he hasn't been as bad as his ERA suggests, but he did face the Red Sox in his first game of the season. 3 runs, 4 1/3. And then Lucas Giolito, like in his last 3 starts, he sandwiched 1 decent outing between giving up 6 earned to the Braves and the Rangers. So I think the only thing that I worry about is that the Orioles just, they just do not hit. They just do not hit at all. I mean, they're just such a bad hitting team, And so Lucas, I'm trying to figure out an eloquent way to put it. These guys just don't hit. Like, their lineup has completely fallen off. So Lucas Giolito doesn't have a good ERA. He has struggled, but will the Orioles be able to hit him? I would lean to the over. I'm just worried about Baltimore plating runs.
Well, because usually in that situation, you go with a team total for the Red Sox, but the numbers are kind of juiced to where, like, I don't love them. Like, over 3.5 is minus 170. But over 4.5 is plus 105. So, like, 5, I feel like 5 is the threshold that, like, I get a little nervous at. So maybe I'm not playing that one. Or you could just say, hey, we'll take the better offense here. Because across the board, the Red Sox do have a better offense. It's just, do you want to trust Lucas Giolito with your money? Not something that I really want to do. So maybe that one's left on the cutting room floor as well. Let me ask you about the Guardians and the Tigers before we get to break.
Sure.
Tigers, a palatable price here at minus 140. And let me remind you, the Tigers have the best run differential in all of baseball. Total of 8, Jack Flaherty goes 2-5 this year, though, surprisingly so. Tanner Bybee goes for the Guardians. James, I've said this before. The Guardians are one of those teams that I'm afraid to go against because I feel like they can, like, contend with anybody with a bunch of, like, no-namers, even, starting. So would you play the Tigers here? Did you look at this game at all?
I actually did. I think I'm going to play the over. Is what I'm going to do. Yeah. So I'm going to go over 8. And Jack Flaherty has been very meh this season. A guy that I've trusted in the past. He's given up at least 4 runs through his last 4 starts. Slade Ciccone, 1 start this season for the Guardians. I went back and looked at his splits last year with the Diamondbacks. Not great. ERA of 6.66. These are 2 top 10 teams to the over. I'm adding it to the card. I'm going over 8 Detroit.
Ooh. I'll say this if you're thinking about playing the Tigers. The fact that the Tigers are 33-17 and Jack Flaherty is 2-5, the math ain't mathin'. That's pretty hard to do when your team's that good.